Hi, I'm Donato Finelli. I'm a mental training and peak performance specialist with Capex Consulting. I'm here today with Figured Out Baseball to tell you about one of the mental fundamentals, focus. So a good place to start to understand focus is with Niederfer's attentional model. And so according to Niederfer, our attention falls on two different dimensions, width of attention and direction of attention. Width of attention could either be broad or narrow. Broad means exactly what it sounds like. Your attention is wide. You're focused on a lot of different details. Narrow means the opposite. It's almost like you have blinders on and you're focused on just one or two small details. If you're a pitcher, an example of broad focus could mean that you're focused on how your defense is aligned, what the base runners are doing, and being aware of who's coming up to the plate. Narrow focus would be just hitting your spot. You're focused on just the catcher's glove. Direction of attention now, that could either be internal or it could be external. Internal meaning something within ourselves, external meaning something outside of ourselves. So if you're a pitcher, internal focus would be things like your breath, your heart rate, your mechanics. External would be something like the strike zone. Now, it's important to understand that all of these attention styles have their pros and cons. There's things about them that are helpful for us to focus on and things about them that are not very helpful for us to focus on. For example, if you're a pitcher, it's important to be aware of what's going on the field around you. You want to be aware of how your defense is aligned. You want to be aware of what that guy on second base is doing. You want to be aware of who's coming up to the plate. But at the same time, if your focus is too broad, you end up taking in unimportant or irrelevant information that doesn't matter. Now, it is important to be able to lock in that laser focus and really concentrate on hitting your spot. But at the same time, if your focus becomes too narrow and you're only focused on hitting the spot, then maybe you miss the fact that the guy that was just on second base is now stealing third. The key here is to be able to quickly switch your attention styles to get your focus where it needs to be when it needs to be there. So if you're a pitcher, maybe you need to start off broad and be aware of the surroundings that are going on around you. But as soon as you're getting ready to throw that pitch, you lock in that narrow laser focus and you just focus on hitting your spot. Being able to quickly switch your attention style on the fly like that is a skill that takes a lot of time to train and practice. It takes years of mental training to be able to quickly switch those attention style on the fly just like that. But one thing that you can start to do right now, a helpful tool that you can start to apply today, is using a deep breath plus a focus cue or focus phrase. What we mean by a focus cue or focus phrase is just a quick word or a phrase that reminds you to get your focus where it needs to be. So for example, let's say you're a pitcher and you use the focus phrase of stay in your legs. So here's what that would look like. Stay in your legs. And then you're going. If you're a hitter, maybe you use the focus phrase of see the ball, hit the ball. So as you're getting set in the box, you're going see the ball, hit the ball, and then you're digging in. At the end of the day, what's most important about our focus is that we want to focus on controlling the controllables. We want to focus on the things that we can control and not dwell on or worry about the things that are out of our control. No matter how hard you try, you cannot control the umps. You cannot control what your opponent is doing. You cannot control the weather. By focusing on those things, you don't gain anything except for unnecessary stress and pressure. We want to focus on the things that we can control. No matter what the situation is, there's 4 things that we always have control over. Our work ethic, our attitude, our preparation, and our actions. No matter what, you control how hard you work. No matter what, you control having a positive attitude. No matter what, you control how well you prepare. And no matter what, you control your actions. There's things in the game that we have some influence over, but we can't control. Something like the outcome of the game, whether you win or lose. Or things like your stats, your ERA, your batting average. You cannot control those things. You can influence those things, but ultimately you cannot control them. If you're a hitter, you could hit a line drive into the gap that should go down for a double, but the center fielder just happens to make an unbelievable diving catch. If If you're a pitcher, you could be painting the black on a 3-2 pitch and the umpire just calls it a ball. So things like the outcome in our stats, you can't control those things. So instead of focusing on those things, focus on the things that you can control. Focus on your work ethic. Focus on your approach. Focus on being a good teammate. Focus on having a positive attitude. To sum up focus, use a deep breath and a focus cue or phrase to help get your attention where it needs to be when it needs to be there, and worry about controlling the controllables. Again, I'm Donato Finelli from Capex Consulting. That was Mental Fundamentals Focus. For some more information on mental skills training, be sure to check out our website at capexconsulting.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Donato_Finelli. And also be sure to check out my next video called Mental Fundamentals Imagery.